Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to Philadelphia, where today we're going to be looking at services in quite some detail because I haven't really paid too much attention to them in the last couple of episodes, and there's definitely things that we need to expand on. So first, we're going to look at power. Now, to be honest, this isn't too much of a problem. Like, we've actually got 10 megawatts more capacity than we're actually using, and we're only using 24, so it's almost like a 50% almost extra capacity that we have. So actually, it's not too bad when you think about it like that, but I do want to come on to some pretty large expansions fairly soon, so I do think it would be worth getting this in now. Also with the added bonus that, of course, we can start to export the electricity as well, and therefore make ourselves maybe a little bit more money. Not that we super duper need it right now, we're making 13 grand an hour, so that's pretty good indeed. But we're going to do it anyway. So what we have in electricity, I'm thinking we're going to go for the geothermal power plant. And the main reason for that really is that it's a little bit more clean than some of the other power plants that we have in the game. It's not using any natural resources, so I kind of approve of that. So I'm thinking we're going to put this in. We do need groundwater in order for this to function. So I'm kind of eyeing up this little spot over here, which I feel like would be the most appropriate place. The other places are all pretty mountainous. I mean, I definitely don't want to be putting a power plant around the lake over here as well. And the others are all really quite far away for the moment. So this feels like the best place to put our geothermal power plant. So before we put it in, I do want to put in a few extra road connections. So what I'm thinking, because we've got this nice big flat plateau out here that we can definitely develop on, let's add ourselves in another intersection, which can also connect up to this collector here, so act as another kind of point of entry into Fewhaven, as well as connecting Fewhaven across into whatever development we decide to put out here, and of course the power plant up this side. So we'll start off with that, and I'm just going to go for a simple intersection for this. We're going to raise it up by 10 so that we can get it comfortably over our train lines and also across our highway here as well. So I want it to come out kind of in the middle of this river bend right here, and I want it, of course, to be relatively flat. So I've got minus 0.1 there, so that feels pretty good to me. We've got plenty of clearance with that on the railway line. Well, just enough clearance, loads of clearance over the highway, so that'll do nicely. And then we're going to continue on this road around here to connect up to this collector. So that works pretty well for me. We obviously need to do a bit of tidying up here as well, but I do actually think let's use Road Builder mod on this. Because what I would like is actually a 4-lane road that's a bit skinnier than a traditional 4-lane road. So we'll add in a car lane in either direction. Yes, like that. We're going to turn off parking on the sidewalks as well. And we're going to make those a little bit narrower. So it's more akin to a highway, but not quite a highway. We can, of course, adjust the speed limit here. I'm going to keep it as 40 because I think we may use this in internal cities, but it just gives us a nice sort of faster, more lanes road than the traditional 2-lane road with those narrow pavements. So pedestrians can still walk on it, but it's not kind of a main pedestrian route. That's really what I'm going for here. So we'll call it a 4-lane road with narrow sidewalks. And then let's go in here and we're going to upgrade the rest of this road all the way down. Like that, and then we can come into road services here as well, and I think what we will do is upgrade to have a retaining wall on this side of it, probably all the way up actually, and then we can do a little bit of terraforming here just to smooth out those retaining walls and make that feel a little bit more appealing. So we'll go all the way up to there, and then let's slope it from this point down, and then we just need to kind of not do that. We want to smooth, not raise the, the terrain up, just to kind of bring that right up to the edge of the top of that retaining wall here. So a nice kind of gentle smooth like that. And then that gives us a pretty nice little cut through road around the edge of the hillside here on top of the cliff. Just want to tidy this bit up just a little bit, so let's just smooth that out. That's not too bad actually. Yeah, I think that can stay. We have got a bit of junk in the road here. I'll come back and sort that out a little bit later, but that gives us, yeah, a nice option to go over here. So if we come back into this, we can then select this road and we'll continue on over the water here. We do want to raise this up a little bit so we're going relatively flat across the water. Let's turn on snap to angle. We'll go for 2 pillars like that. That feels pretty good, and then we can just bring it back down to ground level over this side. And then I'm thinking with this road, what we'll do is continue it on around the edge of this hillside, cut up somehow, it's going to be fairly steep up over here, and kind of head it on round the mountainside to get down towards this river edge over here, because we've got some nice flat land that's definitely screaming out for development. We've got quite a large bit over here, so I think that will give a nice access road between Fewhaven and whatever town we decide to build on the edge of the river over this side. And it'll be quite a nice scenic drive across the mountains as well. So I think that'll be pretty good there. Let's come back to this intersection, and like I said, we're going to keep this super simple. So from this side of it, I'm actually just essentially going to join this straight up into this road, and then we'll come down this other side as well. Now for this side, I think we'll actually do a sort of semi-trumpet for this. So let's go onto our curve tool. We'll curve this round, trying to get this as square as we possibly can. And then we'll create our slip roads onto the highway road from this side. Just like that. And then let's of course come into traffic here, because I absolutely do not want that bend there, so we want to make sure that they're just sticking to their sides of the road and not using that as a chance to come off the highway and then continue on, like they did in Cities 1, so we definitely don't want that. So I think that will work okay as our little highway connection. I'm not sure what is happening over here though, so maybe we try and flatten the terrain a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. That has now gone away. That's a little bit better there. So yeah, that gives us another intersection, and it's also connected into Fewhaven and then coming out this side as well. So I think what we'll do here is go back into the more traditional medium road, and we'll bring out a section like so. And then we could just add in some kind of speedier lanes for this. So let's just bring out an extra kind of connector to go that way, and then similarly this way as well. We can find that lane nicely there, like that. And then what we can do is downgrade this very small section in the middle here, use a little bit of traffic on this, and then that just gives them an option. Instead of kind of coming to a right angle turn at this point, they can just speed off onto this road here in their own little lane. So we can do it something like that and then tidy up some of these horrible junctions. Let's remove the zebra crossings. I don't think they're really needed there. We could keep them on this section but not on these parts, and then they've still got an opportunity to cross if they so need. And we will also get rid of the traffic lights there too. We could put traffic lights on here, and yeah, I think we'll do that because we've got 2 right turns crossing over traffic there, so I think that's probably needed at that point. But that'll be a nice kind of compact intersection for us to have here. And now from here, to get down to our geothermal power plant, I'm thinking what we will do is actually bring this off into a roundabout that will serve this area. So we'll come out straight a little bit further, we'll go ahead and add in, I think we'll go for a large roundabout actually here. Actually one with concrete in the middle, why not, because we haven't really used that yet. And then we're going to bring off a road which follows this coastline down here. So I'll bring this round like so, we'll come underneath the bridge here, and then loop this into this roundabout, and that will give access coming down the coast here towards our geothermal power plant. So let's go ahead and place this in, and I'm thinking we're going to have the road access closest to the train line, because then the road can just very simply kind of come out the front of here and follow essentially the edge of the train line round. So something like that would be fine. Let's just check the groundwater as well. It is pretty heavily on it. We check production, 150. Oh yeah, I am going to pause because that is going to ruin our budget until we actually export this electricity. So let's definitely pause there. Then we'll turn all snapping back on. We'll run a road straight along the front of this power plant. And we could always adjust this a little bit later on to bring it out onto its own road and shift the railway over very slightly if we need to. And then we can just follow this road alongside the railway to connect back up into there. Now let's grab our power lines because we definitely want to be exporting this electricity. I'm thinking the closest border is this way, so let's kind of bring it up onto the top of the hills and then we can run it across this way. So let's just smooth this out because we don't want the electricity lines running essentially right up a cliff as soon as they come out of the power plant. That wouldn't be wholly realistic. So we'll smooth off a section there, then we'll grab our big main power lines. And let's turn on contours for this as well. We're going to bring them right onto the top up here, and we're going to go wavy just a little bit. And then off the edge of the map this way. So now that does mean we should be exporting the electricity. Let's just keep our eye on services here. So yeah, electricity is costing us an absolute bunch right now. If we speed it up a little bit so it registers, we'll see how that changes. And yeah, it's gone into the red. Well, we're actually just hovering just about green without exporting it at the moment. Okay, so that has kicked in, and now of course we're actually making more money per hour than we were before because of course this is now in the green, making us 79, 77, can't make up its mind, grand a month. So that is wonderful news and certainly worth us doing. Because the next thing I definitely need to address is garbage. So let's have a look here. You can see here we are pretty much full. And I have been sneakily bulldozing this and replacing it just to keep our garbage going. So we really, really need to address that quite strongly, I think. And we have a few different options here. We can place in another landfill. We can place in an incineration plant, which is going to speed up the processing. So it will take the garbage from the landfill essentially and burn it, which I hate the idea of. Or we can place in a recycling centre. Now this is going to cost us a lot. So I'm a little bit nervous to do it. And it's going to eat most of our budget as well to put it in. But I think it's worth it. For the moment, one little sewage pipe is holding up our sewage treatment, so I'm reluctant to go ahead and put in the wastewater treatment. I think garbage is more important than that right now if we're talking about using up our budget. And we could potentially always put in another sewage outlet if we felt like we needed to. So yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to go in and we are going to unlock the recycling centre. So here, I'm thinking we make use of this side and this little kind of inlet in and around the highway and around the bridge here and put the recycling centre here. So let's just grab a road for this. And I think we'll bring it out relatively close to the bridge. We want it to go straight and then we're going to run it straight along the edge of the water here. Just like that. And then let's grab the recycling centre. I think we'll give it a little bit of a boundary between that road, so we'll shift it up to, let's say about there. And we should have a bit of room, I would think, to add these in. If we snap it to the side of the building, that may be a little bit tight. We could certainly adjust the main road. This one's okay. We could fit a few at the back if we need to. We've also got the hazardous waste unit, which could fit in there. And we've got the truck extension depot, which goes on the end. So I think we've got enough room to expand around it in this location. So that should be okay for now. The big question is, what has that done to our budget? And we've taken about 10 grand an hour off, so it's not too shabby. If we started the episode on making 12, 13,000 an hour, we're almost back up to 10,000 already. We're pretty satisfied with that. We've still got 140 grand to play with as well. So that's not too bad. Now, in terms of detailing around these, I'm reluctant to do too much because particularly with the recycling centre, we're definitely going to be expanding that. And I'm not entirely sure exactly what we're going to be putting around it yet. So these are going to be left very undetailed for today. It's not going to be like a detailed power plant build. We're just getting in those necessary services to keep our city running over here. And then, of course, when we come out to really think about exactly what's going to go around the recycling centre, what this neighbourhood's going to look like out here, then we can start coming in with the details and shaping it. I'm not one to spend hours doing something when it could be potentially ripped out. That's sort of my mentality. So we'll come back to those. We'll leave that running and we're looking good from a money front. So with our garbage as well, we can now start to empty this. So let's click that button there and then we'll start to see this stored garbage go down, which will give us more capacity here, which is closer obviously to where most of our residents are. So that'll keep us going for a little bit longer. So let's now turn our attention to schools because we have some issues. Viewhaven Elementary School is almost full and we cannot expand that anymore. So yeah, we're going to need another elementary school around here. We also have Gaudy Bay Elementary School and that is as well almost full. So I think let's start expanding on this one as the first kind of port of call here. Let's just shift that over a little bit, and I'm thinking we will actually add in the gymnasium for this one because it's a really, really nice little element to the elementary school, which I think we can definitely add on here. Let's turn off snap to side of buildings. If we can snap it to this road edge right along the side here, I think that would be pretty cool, like that. Can we then just move the main building? Although I do want to relocate this one over. Let's turn on Anarchy just for a second. Go like that, then let's relocate this building one step closer, and then can we actually just push it over a little bit further? Does that interfere with the rail track? It actually doesn't. There's actually no collision there, so I think we can just about get away with that. And in terms of extensions, yes, we should be able to just about fit 2 in here. We may need to shift these over a tiny bit, and then we can potentially fit another one up the back, can we? In fact, actually, that might be all right for capacity. Another 200 places being added on there. We'll see if that goes up a little. It is creeping up. Yeah, it is creeping up. And this is very, very slightly over the pavement here, so we want to adjust this over. I'd also probably quite like to fence in the whole elementary school because I think that will be a nicer thing to do. So let's grab this one. Let's just shift this over a tiny bit. So we'll turn off snapping to roads, snapping to everything, in fact. And we'll line this up to the road as best we can, the same way it was before. But then just shift it over ever so slightly, like that. So there's a tiny bit of overlap there, but it's still kind of plenty to work with. And then we can do the same with this one. So just shift this very slightly further over. And I think actually with both of these, let's pull them back away from the main pavement a little bit. So let's redo this one. So we've got a bit more breathing room at the front here, and we could fence off almost this entire front so that the school children are actually enclosed within the school campus and they can't just run out at their lunch break if they so wish. And it's already full. So yeah, we do have problems. We need more elementary schools in. I'm just wondering if we can actually afford to put any in right now. And we're on the line with it. I want to get to post offices as well, so I think we're going to hold on for just a second with that. We are going to come back and detail up this elementary school later on, so there will be a small amount of detailing in this episode. But let's just flip back to Viewhaven High School over here as well, because that is, again, almost full. So yeah, we need to adjust this. I'm thinking we're going to add in a couple more classrooms into here. So we could just snap them into the road like this, which would make it a touch easier to manage. Now that one is overlapping, so let's move this. That could actually go back to back with that one, I think. It actually works quite nicely. We've also got the doors on the back side here, so that feels quite nice to me. I know that students will end up walking through the hedges to get in, but hopefully there won't be too much of a problem. And again, then later on, well, fairly shortly, we'll come back in and we can finish off detailing around this high school campus. So yeah, that seems like pretty decent capacity there actually, unless it's going to jump off suddenly without me realising. So that should help a little bit with schooling. If we just take a little look at Viewhaven, we're actually not too bad on the uneducated and poorly educated, and in terms of workplaces, we've filled up all of the highly educated ones that are available and also the well-educated, bar one space. And the ones that are actually available are the uneducated ones, so I'm not too worried about kind of making sure that they've got extra space in their primary school there. Over in Gaudy Bay as well, if we take a little look at this, it is a bit different. So there's a bit more of the uneducated and the poorly educated. But again, there's only one open work position actually. So we probably want to look at getting more jobs in, more so than anything. But I definitely think getting onto college is going to be beneficial for this. But nonetheless, we do need another elementary school. So what I'm thinking is we put another one out in this neighbourhood out here, which I think will be nicely spaced out. So we'll have 1, 2, 3 across this kind of general area of Philadelphia. Potentially another one in the hills. I mean, we may need more. I know we're going to have to spam elementary schools everywhere, but I think that's okay for now. If we take a look at happiness, No one's really complaining of not being educated. I don't know if they ever actually do, but that's the way of it. And it's not like we're desperate for educated jobs. So I think we'll be okay like that. So the other thing I do want to touch on in this episode is post, because if we look at happiness, one of the big things that I'm really unhappy with is unreliable mail service. And of course, we don't have any mail service, so that is why they are complaining. However, with the extensions we just put in, we now can't afford even one small post office, which is annoying. But we're making a reasonable amount, so let's put it on fast speed for the time being, and we'll see if we can get in maybe 2 post offices by the end of this episode. But in order for them to work, we need mailboxes spread around the city. So let's go ahead and do that and think about the most appropriate places for these. So we do not have bus stops on this section of the street, so I think let's add a mailbox outside these shops here. And then we'll dot a few across the high street, so potentially one on this corner as well. We could go kind of like leave 2 blocks-ish between each mailbox and maybe one more on this corner. Or in fact, actually we could go up the side here and put one on this corner, which will serve those residents quite nicely. And then thinking about this little neighbourhood, we've kind of got the main road, which is this one that flows through here. So let's add one there. We're getting quite a few stars around there actually. And then we'll come up to here. I think let's add one on the corner by the high school. And then we've also got this commercial strip up here, so let's definitely have one out. Oh, say in front of this hedge there, that probably makes a bit of sense. We could potentially even have another one near the low income housing, I think this side. That would work nicely. I know as well industrial sometimes wants a mailbox, so let's maybe add one into this complex. We'll add one on this corner so it's not kind of too in the way in front of any buildings out there. I have just spotted, wow, we need another sewage pipe. I am constantly cheesing this, flattening it and redoing the pool, but thanks to the fact that we have the no pollution mod, I think we could get away with adding this into our water just for the time being, and we will come on to the waste processing as soon as we can. So let's add this in down here. It's going to be another 25 grand gone, but never mind. And then we'll connect the sewage pipe up pretty rudimentary, because this is a temporary solution after all, into the nearest road that we can, so we're up here. And then what we can do with this one is actually turn it off. And I know a lot of you in the comments have asked that this get turned into some kind of old quarry, disused quarry. So we will absolutely be coming in and doing that. It will be Philadelphia's version of Dodgy Rocks. For anyone who hasn't seen that, go and check out my Origin series and you'll learn all about Dodgy Rocks there. Okay, so let's get back to mail service. We want something in the middle of this residential neighbourhood, I think, as well. So let's go for one on this corner here. And that will keep those guys happy. So we're getting them relatively spread out. We do want one up in this neighbourhood here too. So let's go quite central. We'll go on this little corner there, and that is spreading out the happiness quite a lot. And I think let's have one by our little makeshift playground in the corner here as well on this side of the highway. And then heading down to Gaudy Bay, of course. Let's have one outside this commercial, I think, up here. And then we could have another one on this side of the high street. Right there. I think that's probably enough for the time being. I think let's have one near the elementary school, so I'll add one in here now, just so we remember to have another one this side of the neighbourhood. But that should be pretty good for mailboxes. So now we just need to wait to build up a little bit more cash to put in our post offices. So while we wait for that, I think what I will do is go ahead and start detailing up our high school and our elementary school over here. And you know what, I've realised actually there aren't really any extensions that we're going to put onto the geothermal power plant, so we're going to go ahead and detail up that as well. Okay, so we're going to start over in Gaudy Bay Elementary School. I have just added in a little extra block of row housing in here with a nice big park, one of the new parks in between, so we can finally extend out to the walking paths nice and easily. Really, really like this park actually. Definitely a good one. We do still have a homeless issue, hoping that they bring out a patch to update that very soon. But for now, the homeless are gathering right outside the primary school. So yeah, that is what it is. Do have a little car park over here as well to help facilitate the school, and then yeah, I just kind of went to town really on the actual playground and the grounds of the school. So we've fenced the whole thing in so it's nice and secure. I don't like the idea of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds running out and being able to just get onto the street anytime they want, so I think a fence is pretty important here. I decided to actually stagger these two buildings as well so it didn't look quite so repetitive, which I like the effect of. And then out in the playground, we've just got this nice kind of outdoor seating area. Decided to put in a little hopscotch. Now I realise the size of it is completely unrealistic and they'd have to have absolutely ginormous legs in order to be able to do this, but I just thought it was kind of cute and I wanted to give it a try, so I'm enjoying that. From further away, it looks fine, just not when you've got a sim standing right next to it. And then out in the back we've got a small little outdoor play area. I know my 2 5-year-olds in their reception kindergarten year used to go and have sessions on some playground equipment at school like this, so why not? And then we've also got an outdoor kind of study, learning garden area where they can practice some gardening skills is what I was thinking out in that little back bit. But yeah, quite enjoying this. I really like the aesthetic from the road as well, with the wall going all the way around here, and then a just tiny little sort of cut off overgrown bit. We've done a bit of surfaces and a few little sunken bushes in there. So yeah, I really like that, and really like kind of how it goes right up to the railway line here too. So that was Gaudy Bay Elementary. If we just take a quick little look at it as well, it is full. Yes, it is. So more elementary schools absolutely incoming very, very soon. But let's head on over to Fewhaven High School over here, where we have just finally finished this campus. I've just detailed up around these 2 extra classroom buildings that we've added in over here. Got a bit more of an outdoor seating area for lunchtime, hangout sessions, whatever you might think. Tiny bit of greenery in the background there. And then just sort of tidied up around our tennis court that we put in last time. But that was it here. And again, in terms of capacity, this has shot up. It's not quite full, so there's a few more places, but it's getting there. So another thing we're going to have to keep our little eyes on. And then finally in the detailing, let's come on over to our power plant. Now, I could spend hours playing around with all the surfaces and the decals in this game. So much fun kind of layering them up and seeing how it looks, but what I wanted from this was a really kind of rough surface where it looks like the grass has sort of died, isn't very well maintained underneath it. As I think would be the case in and around something like this, I'd obviously want to not have lots of overgrowth or trees around here. I might come in and actually delete off some of these small trees, but they're not too bad for the time being. I kept the surface way pathing in because I thought that was quite nice, and then just did some extra decals and sandy surfaces underneath the big power lines running this side. And then just to facilitate it for the staff members, we have got a car park over here and a gas station as well, because I thought why not, they could go and pick up a sandwich for their lunch or something like that in the little gas station. I also thought it was quite a nice place, somewhat out in the middle of nowhere, to have a little gas station as you're driving along your route. I'd definitely like to add some service rest stops, I think, in along this highway once we upgrade it a little bit more, and of course add in our massive intersection which is going to run through into the main downtown over there as well. So all of that still to come at a later date. I have left the recycling centre untouched, like I mentioned. We'll be doing a lot more expansion, a lot more building around that in future episodes. But let's just take a little look at things. So we have managed to get up to 200 grand. We're still making 5 grand an hour, not too shabby at all. So we can now afford to get in 2 small post offices. We can't put in a large one, which is annoying because it does have a much higher storage capacity. And I'm wondering actually if we can see here. Let's have a look at posts. So mail rate 19,000. So actually 2 of these would keep up with it. We've got 25,000 in each of those. That would be more than enough. So hopefully that will be okay. Maybe at some stage at a later date when we have a little bit more money, we'll swap out one of these for a larger post office. But I think for now that'll be fine. Oh, we have an accident over on the highway up here. has involved a motorcycle and a van by the looks of it. The police are in attendance, so we're all good, and they have disappeared. The van driver's car's disappeared. Now he's going to proceed to walk along the highway to get home. Wonderful. Okay, so post office placement. We've got this nice little commercial and office strip up here, so I thought actually this would be quite a good place to have one. So let's drop that in there. Of course, we've got Anarchy on, so we can't even see it at present. Let's clear out some of those trees. There we go, that's a little bit better, and then I think we'll replace a couple of those just around the edge. Just so it feels a little bit more bushy and grown up, and then we could have a bit of a hedge border along the back there. So we have got that post office in. We've already got a post van coming out. Wonderful stuff. So that's kind of going to serve that part of the town. I would like to put a larger post office in the centre over here. So I think the other small one we're going to put in for now is going to have to be over in Gaudy Bay. So I think for the moment we've got a nice corner here. Let's go ahead and add it onto this corner. Yes, we will. We'll pop it in there. So again, we've got two of those post offices at either end of the town at the moment. We'll have a larger one in the middle, and then I think that that will be pretty good from a mail service point of view around this area. We'll obviously have to keep an eye on capacity and how efficiently they're running. It's dropped our budget down to 3,600 an hour now that we've got all those extra high school and elementary school expansions, the recycling centre of course. Yeah, it's a little bit low. If we just check on the services here as well, the electricity consumption, we've obviously gone up, so we're making slightly less than we were when we first put it in, but it is still in the green, so I'm pretty positive about that. So I think next things is we need a lot of expansion. We've got demand for pretty much everything, so I think next time we'll be doing quite a bit more zoning to try and get our tax revenue up to increase this budget, and I would also like to come on to more industry. I'm very conscious we've only got our stone quarry in at the moment. If we take a little look at production lines though, we're actually not doing too badly. We don't really have a massive deficit of anything else. Definitely need some grain, but that's about it. But on material goods, somehow we've managed to really well balance out what industrial buildings we've had spawn in. So we're actually not at a deficit of too many things. It is starting to creep up on food and beverages though, so both of those require some farmland, so maybe it is farmland next over zoning. Let me know in the comments which one you would prefer to see first, a new neighbourhood or an expansion on Gaudy Bay, or would you like to see some farms going in? But actually I'm pretty pleased with this production chain. I think at this stage in the city it's not too bad considering we've only got that one specialised industry in at the moment. So there we go. So for today, that is going to be it. If you have enjoyed the episode, likes, comments and shares are greatly appreciated, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. But that's all from me for now, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye bye.